Hey YouTube, Francis here. Thank you for coming back to my channel. If this is your first time here, I bid thee welcome. There is a subscribe button and a bell below if you want to help support this channel by subscribing, and also through hitting the bell you will be notified as to when I upload more content. I'm coming to you from Ghana country, and as such I acknowledge the Ghana people of the Adelaide Plains as being the traditional custodians of this land. So I'm just getting over my hair, just looks very dark today. I don't know why, but the first world problems and the plane's about to fly overhead. Anyway, this video is going to be about just going to the right page in my book, the full moon in March, which is only a little while away yet. 7th of March here in Adelaide at 11:10 p.m. so that's Australian Central Standard Time. It will be in the astrological sign of Virgo, and I think it might also be a supermoon, which just means that when the moon's on its ecliptic around the Earth, it's actually at a point closer to the Earth, so it appears larger than normal. But I'm not 100% sure. I'll just double check that. It's going to be 16 degrees 40 minutes of Virgo, making it the 6th of 7 full moons in a row that are all 16 degrees of their corresponding sign. And I have mentioned this earlier. The 16th card of the tarot is the Tower. This is the Rider-Waite deck, which is really interesting because some astrologers in particular have been highlighting the 16-degree point as the sort of like things coming to an end, in particular foundations or corporate structures. So it's sort of waiting to see what will happen. So full moon, of course, is when the moon's energy is at its peak, the combination. There's also a promise of fulfillment, especially if you've been working with the moon, what you've actually planted during the new moon cycle, and that's when the new moon was in Virgo, which was usually about 6 months ago, so back in August last year. So what seeds you were planting then, see now if they have come into fruition, into culmination. For the full moon to occur, we've got the sun and the moon at direct opposite of each other. So the sun is also at 16 degrees 40 minutes, but it's in the astrological sign of Pisces. And in doing that, it's highlighting the moon. So it's revealing something that maybe we haven't noticed before, we haven't seen before, something that has been in our subconscious is now beginning to come up to the surface, coming into our awareness. And in order to gain sort of more insights into what this could be, if you don't have any ideas already, this is where you need to get your astrological, your birth chart, your natal chart done. There's plenty of sites free on the internet if you know your date, time and place of birth. If you don't know those things, in particular the place or the time, you may need to consult an astrologer and they can draw up something that you can use, but you need those 3 things, and that will actually give you the houses. So each, this is the wheels of the actual chart, and I don't actually have my chart out here. I know I've shown it in previous videos. And each house will have a specific relationship. So you need to look at what house Virgo is in, and in particular 16 degrees Virgo, if you've got any planets around that area. And this can actually highlight what could be highlighted in your chart at this full moon. So Virgo rules the tools and the techniques to deal with our day-to-day, our mundane existence, while Pisces sort of focuses on our spiritual self. So there's going to be this bit of a tug of war between our day-to-day mundane existence when we need to get things done, as to our dream state, and our inspiration, our goals, where we would want to be as well. Virgo is also the energy needed in relation to how we organize, how we manage and improve parts of our life. So it can also look at what is or what actually is not working for us, what new solutions or processes need to be engaged or even removed from our lives, and also highlighting what is actually missing. So Virgo is a very responsible energy, and in saying all this, it actually wants to get things done. Now, I don't have an astrological chart of this moon, but if you want to pull one up, you will see that the moon is actually on its own on one side of the chart, on the wheel, and all the planets are on the other side. So this is sort of indicating that, again, something that we have probably previously overlooked is now beginning to come up into our conscious awareness. Along with the Sun, which is in Pisces, there's also Mercury is also in Pisces, and Neptune. So this is going to give these three planets the full moon, as opposed to our Virgo feel, a little bit more of a Piscean, dreamy, emotional sort of feeling of this full moon. And another thing that's going to be quite interesting is basically a couple of hours after this full moon takes place, Saturn is going to move into Pisces. So that will result in there being 4 planets in Pisces. So really bringing our awareness, bringing our attention to these unlimited potentials in the universe. And one astrologer, Molly McCord, who I'll be listing below, calls this the miracle matrix. So there's a lot of potentiality with this new moon to really tap into our dreams, our visions, our goal, and then using that Virgo energy of the moon to try and bring it through into manifestation, into the physical realm. We'll start really incorporating or looking at how we can incorporate our dreams, our goals, our visions into something a little bit more practical on the day-to-day. So, and I suppose another side effect of having 4 planets in Pisces is that we're going to be feeling that there's something about to happen, but we don't know yet because it's still in the dream state. It's still in our subconscious. It hasn't moved out into the mainstream. So there is a degree of anticipation of the unknown. And due to that occurring, we need to really focus on, sorry, I'm uploading something at the same time, multitasking. Can I do this? Okay, we really need to focus on trusting in the universe, the higher consciousness, our God, goddess, ancestors, spirit guides, whatever that is, bringing something into our awareness, but not quite yet. So we have to have this belief, this faith, hold space into the unknown at this present point in time. But in doing that, also try not to overthink things. Just allow things to flow as they're meant to, which could actually be a bit difficult with this Virgo energy because Virgo wants details. It's very methodical. Okay, so we've got the moon on one side, the sun on the other, and they are actually square with Mars, which is in Gemini. And Mars has been in Gemini since August and will continue there until around about the 25th of March, where it will then move into Cancer. So there's a lot of building up of energies towards the end of March, around the equinox in particular, which falls on a new moon, or the new moon falls on the equinox, depending on which way you want to look at it. There are some really big things happening, which I think I have talked about it before, but we'll hold off in a moment, and that will, in the process of doing a video, or doing the research for a video specifically on what is happening around this equinox, because it's going to be a big shift. So this martial energy at the moment is feeling a little bit frustrated. It knows that something is about to happen. This is build up, this peak, yet nothing is coming through. Nothing's being shown yet. So it's building up, building up, building out. And in doing so, it can also result in being a little bit too much to handle. But again, this is where we need to have that sort of faith and trust into the universe. What is really interesting is that we are getting all these planets moving into mutable signs as opposed to fixed signs or cardinal signs. So mutable signs are Virgo, so the moon's in Virgo, Pisces, and we have the Sun, Neptune and Mercury in Pisces, and Saturn about to move into Pisces. There's Aries and Gemini, and the other mutable sign is Sagittarius. So these mutable signs means that the energy is flowing. We need to be adaptable. Changes can happen, and they sort of ebb and flow and shift. So we need to allow ourselves to be more flexible, and they can also highlight that a choice is needing to be made, and once and for all we need to actually take responsibility and make this choice, especially if we have been dithering about saying yes or no to something. Due to this flowing energy, and it is going to intensify, it's going to be very strong. We just said we're going to need to be more adaptable. So if this is not your thing, if you don't like change, probably be best to focus on grounding yourself, and in particular do some physical grounding, like taking your shoes off and actually walking barefoot on the grass or the sand or something like that, and really make a conscious effort to ground as much as you can and allow these channels, these shifting energies to move through. I know that sort of sounds almost like an oxymoron. We're talking about grounding, and most people think about being solid, connected with the earth. We are, but we're also allowing and opening ourselves up, this channel up to the universal changes as well. Just want to talk a little bit about Aries, because we've got Venus, Chiron, the wounded healer, and Jupiter, all in Aries. And Chiron and Jupiter are actually going to be conjunct at 14 degrees, so right next to each other, 14 degrees of Aries, a few days after this full moon. So that, again, this is another layer to the full moon that you might want to consider, depending on what you're going to be doing on the 7th. And when Chiron and Jupiter are conjunct, Jupiter is the big expansion, it's going to bring to light something that will support our inner healing process. So if we've been working on courage or independence, something that we've been developing in order to aid us, in order for us to shift through, move away from the past, then this is really going to be supportive, as well as if we're wanting to move into a new phase or era in our life. So Jupiter will be pushing us forward. It also means that something big in relation to our healing process may also be revealed to us. And Jupiter can also show what has been healed or what needs to be ramped up or changed. So again, this is understanding the ebbing and flowing of the energies. We need to keep in mind that Jupiter does amplify things. So if there are things or anything that we have been dragging our feet about, that we have been avoiding, especially in relation to our own inner healing journey, then this could actually be right in our face, so to speak, as Jupiter is tapping into the energies of this full moon and highlighting it right into our awareness once and for all. So we're just sort of going to wrap all this up. And I suppose it's good to end on the fact that another aspect of Virgo is purification. So it's going to be a perfect time to start clearing out any toxic or unwanted energies or residue of energies or aspects of things that we have been holding on to from our past. Because us humans, we do tend to define ourselves from our past achievements. Therefore, it is extremely important for us to attempt to leave these toxic connections behind us, especially with all these new directions and energies that are waiting in the wings and will be taking us into this new direction set from round about the 20th, 22nd of March, where things are going to heat up again, gain momentum. So it is really a time to focus on what is in front of us, what we can actually do today to be practical, and really begin to manage our energy due to this big taxing energetic pattern that we do have. And the tarot card of the Tower again. This card is a game changer. The old way structure, conformity, the old ways. And this of course also relate to conditioning, blocks, how we see ourselves, what we deem as correct, all coming to an end as everybody is beginning to fall out of the Tower. So the energies are anticipating, are ramping up that there is going to be big change ahead. And again, as I said, this is going to be taking place around the March new moon, which coincides with the equinox, and especially when Pluto moves sides. So it's going to be moving into Aquarius, so that's going to be really, really big. So I hope you find that of interest. Just some more food for thought when it comes to looking at what you want to do with this full moon energy. And I hope to see you next time. Blessings.